Okay, our speaker today is one of our family members who tells us about her ranching experiences and how that is spiritual and how we can see all of our daily experiences as something that is truly sacred and meant for us to live the life that we're intended to live. So Joyce, come on up here and do that.
All right. Thank you, Brian.
That's Reverend Joyce Zorger.
Yeah. Oh gosh, what a perfect introduction, because I have to share with you a couple of things that I was extremely grateful for, that I'm still alive. And I shared this with a women's group a while back at a restaurant. This was October. In October, I spoke. The last time I spoke here, I speak every other month, and I spoke on October, the first Sunday in October. And the next day, I had and my talk on that particular day was the winds of grace. And I got to experience that the following day, because I belong to the Monday Club, and I was driving there on Orchid Road, which is out in the middle of nowhere, in my Subaru, which is a 2004, and I get there, park in the parking lot, and go into the parking space, and I feel my car, after I turned off the engine, the car was a little crooked, so I thought I'll turn the engine on and back out and straighten it up. Turn the engine on, there was no control. The car started rolling forward, there was a bunch of noise under the hood, and it was just going crazy, and I thought, what is happening? I turned it off. Fortunately, there was a cement abutment there, and I didn't go over the hill because it was in a place where I could have, but it hit that. And I turned the engine on again, and I couldn't back up. I couldn't do anything. I thought maybe something happened to the transmission. I don't know much about cars, but I called AAA. They came out and took it in to the Subaru place in San Luis Obispo. And I was fortunate that the woman next to me that parked her car, she said, I told her the situation, and she said, well, I can drive you home. I live out where you do, and I'll drive you home. So that was number one, grateful, right? I was grateful that the cement block was there. I didn't go over the embankment. I was grateful to learn, this is what I learned, that car had a broken axle. And I didn't know what that might mean, but when I Googled it, it says that if your axle breaks, your wheel comes off and you lose control of your car. And so I said, thank you, God. I was so grateful, and I've been grateful ever since, of reminding myself of that close call that I had. And so I think that the other day I was listening to a podcast, and it was on gratitude. And the person that was speaking, it was Dennis Prager. Dennis, I don't remember exactly the name. Prager, Dennis Prager's University. He spoke on gratitude, and he said that there's if there's an absence of happiness in your life, it's because you need to focus on the things you're grateful for. Gratitude is what creates our happiness. So I've been happy ever since I learned I didn't kill myself on the road on Orchid Road. I mean, I am so grateful. So yeah, and there's just one thing after another, if you're aware, and just to be aware and be grateful for our life here. We don't know how long we're going to be here, but we're still here, and make the most of it by every day, in every way, be grateful and think about the things that you're grateful for, because that's what creates happiness in you. I have a granddaughter that's been feeling kind of depressed, and I think depression, sometimes it can be something that is a medical thing. Maybe you need some kind of a vitamin to help you boost your sense of being well. But she, to me, I have, since my husband passed away a couple of years ago, since the extreme weather that I had in 2023 with landslides all over my property, and my bottom floor filled with 3 to 4 inches of muddy water that I had to replace the whole carpet system and everything else. It's like, I feel like, almost like I am experiencing, and then my dogs, I have to talk about what happened this last week with my dogs, but I'll give that some time too. But it's like moving through these times that are challenges and getting over that because what we need to do is have the mindset to remind us that what will help us get through those times is to feeling grateful for what we still are able to do. I have had an issue with just walking in these last 3 weeks. I haven't attended church for a couple of times. Really sorry I missed that 25th anniversary celebration, but I was on Zoom. But I also had problems with the Zoom. I couldn't get, I had the sound, but I didn't have the picture. And I was there, and people didn't know I was there, and that was hard for me to accept that I was unknown. But anyway, that's who I am. Anyway, because I love you guys, and I want to be a part of all the things that take place here, because we are a family. We are our unity family, our unity community, and so many people. I know that somebody, Amanda, she did that beautiful get together on Thanksgiving, and I saw the pictures, and of course I looked for the Unity newsletter and I didn't find it because it always helps me with my talk, and it was there this morning when I looked in it, and I copied it, and it is on Peace. And Brian always does such a wonderful job. I don't know if you get that out or who gets it out, but it's a beautiful newsletter. So it's there on your computer, and you need to go check on that. It's called Embracing Inner Peace, a New Thought Perspective, and it's excellent. And my talk this morning, which I will finally get to, is on it was on peace, poise, and power. And those words have always given me confidence in whatever I do. But I told you I'd tell you a little bit of story about my dogs, that this was my other stress this week. I had a friend coming over. She was going to bring me some persimmon bread, and she and I go to a class in Arroyo Grande for balancing. As we get older, sometimes our balance gets a little wonky, and she invited me to go with her. It's only $3, and it's an hour long, and they play music from the 50s and 60s, which is fun. 40s too, yeah, all of this is fun. And they have these colored stretchy things. Well, I picked the blue because it matched my outfit, and I didn't realize that it was harder. The blue stretchy thing is more, it's harder to stretch. And I had that, and I was doing this exercise where you pull, on your legs, and I pulled a muscle on my leg. So that's why I haven't been able to walk well. But I'm doing better, and I'm grateful for that. Every day in every way, my leg gets stronger, and I'm doing better. I have to tell you, my mule, this Kawasaki mule, it's an ATV. It's not a real mule. It broke down too, and so I was using that to move around, to motate on my property, to take my dogs on there one at a time. Can't take them both out together; they take off. I take them out with me, and they each get a half an hour. And because of my walking disability, I ride the mule. Well, I couldn't ride the mule. I had to stagger. I had to take a branch from a tree to get to the end of the property and back to give me the support I needed. So that was the story. And my dogs, so my friend was going to pick me up to take me to the class it's like I said, it's every Wednesday, and I couldn't make it last Wednesday. So she said, well, I'll bring you some persimmon bread. Well, I thought, she's coming over, I'm going to fill a bag with chocolate. These dark chocolate covered caramel that I get at Costco. I had a bag filled with them, and then I also had some lemons I was going to give her. Well, I forgot to give them to her because she came over and we got to talking and forgot about that. But Toby got into the bag of chocolate. He ate all but 2. And I was so worried about him because poison, it's dark chocolate, especially dark chocolate, is poisonous for dogs. And he ate, he must have really loved it because he was just smacking his lips and all that. Anyway, he weighs 72, 73 pounds. He's a big dog. Of course, I went on Google right away to see what they had to say about dogs eating chocolate. And so just at that time, I knock at the door, and it's my next door, 2 women that live on the property next door to me. One of them is a vet tech. She was bringing a pumpkin pie over. And it was like perfect timing because I'd asked her, what should I do? Should I take him to the vet or what? And the other person that was with her, she said, she says on Halloween, my dog ate all the candy, unwrapped all the candy, ate all the candy in the trick-or-treater. And she says, and he lived through it, and he was just a small dog. So we decided together, the three of us, that Toby was going to live, which he did, and he was fine. And he's continues to be fine because the very next day, he ate my breakfast, my oatmeal. He's such a scamp, and so yeah. But how he did that, because it was cold. It was cold in the morning, and it was Lucy's turn to go for her walk, and so I left him in the house. But and he was fine in the house. But then I got back from the walk with Lucy, and I'm trying to figure out the whole circumstances, but I was eating breakfast. I have to tell you that this life of mine has been so confusing in these last few weeks. I don't know if you're all going through this too, but the peace that passes all understanding, I need that peace today. I need that peace that passes all understanding. That peace, poise, and power. And so to me, I have to finish my story about the oatmeal. I was having my breakfast of oatmeal, ate half of it, and went outside. Lucy that's what it was. Lucy didn't get back from her walk. We got back from I got back, no Lucy. I called her. It was like an hour went by, and I thought, well, I'm just going to go in the house, be with Toby, and eat my oatmeal. So I'm eating and I had eaten half of it, and then she came back. And I saw her out there, and I was concerned because she needed her breakfast, right? So even though I didn't finish mine, so I went out there to get her and give her breakfast. And as I was filling up their water containers, I'm looking in the window, and I see Toby up on the table with his legs, and he's eating out of my bowl of oatmeal, and he ate all of the rest of my oatmeal. And I just anybody want a dog for Christmas? I know your dog is so well behaved, Ryan. I get crazy when I talk up here, and I'm sorry, Martha. I hope Martha's listening, because we talk, and she tells me she enjoys what I have to say. So do I. I never know what I'm going to say. I have to tell you that these words, this peace, poise, and power, this is what I've been working on, the breathing. This is so important, because I wake up at night, and I have, sometimes the dogs will be barking, and they get quiet. And the red fox, they're no longer around the property, which I had problems with earlier, because it was coming around every night and making noise, and my dogs would bark and wake me up. But anyway, I do wake up usually around 3 or so. But to get back to sleep, I find that the breathing is what helps me to get back to sleep. And I work on that breathing in to the count of 4, holding it to the count of 4, breathing out to the count of 4, and waiting with a count of 4 before I breathe in. I did that again last night, and I just I woke up this morning, and I thought, God, I fell asleep, and it's so wonderful. It's like a gift, that our breath is a gift to us. Okay, so these words, I think that I have a little book here that this little book follows me around. I've had this book for years and years. You can see that I love it. And I had something here I wanted to share with you, because it was for December 1st, and it's on peace. And it says here, I wish you songs, but also blessed silence, and God's sweet peace when every day is done. I love that affirmation. I think that meditation, affirmation, and gratitude, those 3 things, if you don't take anything away from this morning's service, meditation, quiet yourself, quiet your mind. My talk that I did years and years ago was when I got my puppies. They're now about 7, they'll be 7 years old in another week. These puppies, when I first got them and working through and training them, I did a talk on sit, stay, okay, but I added pray in there, because I say sit, stay, and then it's okay, then they can go. But for myself, I use those words for myself, to sit, to stay, to pray, and then everything will be okay. And that's when the peace that passes all understanding that I feel, and that peace can make a change in my life. And the song that you sang, this beautiful song, I've heard it before, where you combine peace and the silent night, that is so beautiful. And music will help calm our souls with this busy time that we get so involved. Especially I had to go out yesterday on Black Friday. Don't ever do that. Don't ever go. I had to pick up my daughter and her husband were, and their daughter, who's 37 now. God, I can't believe I have a granddaughter that's 37. They were on the way to see another daughter who they just got bought property up by Paso Robles. And Shiloh didn't want to go. I think there might be a little jealousy because she's 37 and her sister's engaged now to be married, and she just wanted to stay with me. Anyway, but in order that her mom and dad didn't have to drive all the way out to where I live and drop her off, I said, I'll drive into town and pick you up, which I did. And then we went around to some stores, which I should have not done. It was crazy out there, I know. How many of you were in town yesterday? If you were, you stayed home. Good for you. You did. You were wise thinking. But this is this little book. I bought it for a number of people, and it's out of print now, but you can still get a copy of it from Amazon. It's a used copy, but I just love some of the words that it says. It's nothing is worth the loss of our serenity and peace of mind. And I love when Brian says, in the silence, because when I say to myself, in the silence, and I sit in the silence. For me, living where I do, it's pretty silent out there. And when I go to the Monday Club, I'll go kind of crazy because there's all these 100 women all talking at the same time. And I'm thinking, this is not peaceful for me. It's harder for me to handle that kind of noise now when I'm in a place of quietude most of my life at Feather Ranch. And I'm saying that this is something that I'm learning to manage. We all have things that we have that come along in our life, and our lives change as we move through this process of the aging process, right, I say. So I'm great. I have a lot of things to be grateful for. I'd like to finish reading this. It says, we don't come to value peace by accident. It usually results from having been around the block more than once. That trip's great lesson is that there is nothing more essential than peace. Without the harmony and balance it breeds, nothing of value can grow. Nothing of value can grow without that peace. And it's up to each one of us to decide when we're going kind of wonky in our thoughts and can't hold a thought. And that has been, I have a lot of practice with meditation and all these things that I like to share with you, but I have to tell you that there are times when we get in a place where I have to, there are things that I forget to do, or I want to do, and I forget, and I do something. I walked out with a pair of gloves yesterday to go feed my horses, and they were the gloves I was wearing for the fireplace. I set fire and started a fire in the fireplace. They're these long gloves, and so I grabbed those instead of my work gloves that I use when I'm feeding the horses. And I get halfway down there, and I'm thinking, what am I doing with these gloves in my hand? Do you do that too? I love this unity community because we're all going through kind of like adjusting to our thought processes and this beautiful thing of aging with attitude and gratitude. This is so important. Aging with attitude, aging with gratitude. I just do a talk on that someday. Anyway, I have said nothing about the talk that I was going to do today, but it's in here somewhere. It's 4 pages long, but I won't do that. I won't do that. I love Unity. I get their books. This one here is Be Not Afraid, and it's got some great things in it about the Advent. Today is Advent Sunday. And it says the divinity born in each of us is what we celebrate with the birth of Jesus. It's that Christ presence that we celebrate, that we know is always there, that Christ consciousness is always there within us. But this is a time, even though it's such a busy time, we have to take the time to be in that peace, poise, and power, to know that these words strengthened me. I gave them one time to a girlfriend of mine, and she was about to do a talk, and she was nervous about that. And I said, just hold these words: peace, poise, and power. And she did. And she told me recently, when I told her that I was going to do a talk at church on peace, poise, and power, she said, Joyce, tell the people how much that meant to me and how I appreciate those words, because when she got up there in front of the people that she was presenting to, she kept thinking of those words. So our affirmations, the things that we give ourselves, help us through those tough times that we have to quiet our mind and control the thoughts that are going crazy sometimes in our minds. You know, we're all human. We're spiritual beings having this human experience, as we know, and we've heard that many times. But sometimes that human, that our brain just needs to be settled, and that sit, stay, pray, and all will be okay. I had a workshop. First of all, I wanted to say that I have many books by Joel Goldsmith, and he was born in 1892, and he passed away in 1964. But he had written 14 spiritual books, books that one of my favorite was The Thunder of Silence, and how important silence is. And so I thought, I'm pretty, fortunate that I live in a place where it is quiet, but it's up to me to be able to control the situation. It's quiet out there, but there's so much to do. And I feel that that's only what I put on myself. I don't have to do all that. It's just that we're our worst enemies at times by putting too much pressure on what we should do or what we have to do, and just trying to be in a place of settling down. And I've been doing that more and more. I really have been finding that I just need to sit, stay, and pray, and all will be okay. And the prayer is usually just a silent prayer. Goldsmith, he was a master with meditation, and there was a class that I did one time called Peace, Poise, and Power at my other church years ago. It was a religious science church, and it talks about the God, just as love and life are attributes of God. I wrote down here, peace, poise, and power are attributes of God, just as love and life are attributes of God. And meditation is the way to peace and peace and poise is the balance. The poise is the balance, and the poise is the way, that peace and poise is the way to the power. So if we have that peace and poise, we feel empowered, and we can move through our life with grace and ease, and not with making more things complicated for us. Like I said, I did a class on that, peace, poise, and power, and what I liked about it, it had an alignment with the 5 steps of spiritual mind treatment, which religious science speaks about as our prayer treatment. It's a method of increasing awareness, and that's the recognition, because the first step in the spiritual mind treatment is recognizing that God is everywhere present. And the second step, the certainty of our oneness with the whole, that's the unification. And the second step of the science of mind prayer treatment is the unification. So the recognition, God is everywhere present. The unification, that God is everywhere present within each one of us. And then the third step is the immediate availability of the power and wisdom resulting from truly knowing the truth, and that is the realization, the third step. Realizing, and that's where your affirmations come in your prayer treatments. You affirm, and you picture it in your mind, and you speak those words that are the truth of your being, the unification, the recognition, the unification, and the realization is the place. Then after you've done your prayer treatment, then you give thanks in gratitude, and you release into the creative power and action of the law. And this is what gets me through my day, is those spiritual mind treatments that I do for myself. And I do them because it's like, for me, it reminds me, there's a song by Karen Drucker, is God is my source, God is my power, God gives me everything I need. Have you heard that song before? I love that song. God is my source. And there are a few people here that I've heard say that they didn't like the word God, but it doesn't. You can call God source. You can call infinite intelligence, divine right action. There's so many words for God. We choose what feels right for us. And for me, I like the word God, but I like the word source, divinity, universal intelligence. It is my power. I also refer to him as Mother, Father, God. And it's, to me, gives me strength. It helps me keep on keeping on for as long as I'm needing to be here on this earthly plane. And it's fun being here. I enjoy being here, talking with you, and I feel that in itself is the gratitude. The gratitude brings us happiness. It brings us joy. And all the things that have happened to me, people say, getting through these, that being resilient, I think is important, to be resilient of the things that happen. Because they happen to everybody, You're not just personally picked out as Job in the Bible and all these negative things are happening to you. We all go through whatever it is that we need to go through to get closer to our recognizing that we are all divine and we are all that expression of the one that is God. And God is my source. God is my power. God gives me everything I need. And I say that to myself. I talked about meditation and quiet times, how it brings bring us to the time to listen as we slow down our external pace. Our internal spaces open up to the needs of our spirit and a healing channel of energy. That's the power that flows in and around us. I wrote this, I'm going to read it again. Meditation and quiet times meditation and quiet times bring us to the time to listen. And that's not always easy to do, the listening. I am really trying to focus more on when I am talking to someone to really hear what they're saying. Oftentimes people are just thinking about what they're going to say next, but I did a talk one time here on listening and how important listening is. It honors the life of that person that is speaking, and I think that we need to remind ourselves of that. Meditation and quiet times bring us to the time to listen, and that's when we are quiet in the meditation and hear the voice of God. It is that voice of God that comes, it's amazing how God speaks to us in those quiet times. As we slow down our external pace, our internal spaces open up to the needs of our spirit. Open up to the needs of our spirit and a healing channel of energy, and that's that power that flows in and around us. That healing power of energy, the power that flows in and around us. I am so organized. I had 4 pages that I've written out, but I won't go through all of that now because it's getting close to it is 11 o'clock already. All right, I have here, you need to know, peace is not passive. What do you suppose it means by that? Peace is not passive. Peace is not passive. I'm sorry? You actively pursue that peace, right. Thank you. Thank you, Nina. I have a little day book that I love these day books. This is a day book too. Every day, you open it up and you read what's for the day. These are so helpful to. This is part of my morning spiritual experience. My day books, my all of, my daily word, everything I can gather. I usually spend, when I wake up at 5:30 or 6, I spend at least a half an hour with my yoga, and I haven't done that because of my knee has been bothering me so much. But I do some more, nothing too strenuous lately. And then I spend an hour after I get downstairs, I get my coffee and sit and do my spiritual reading for about an hour, and just and my journal. I journal write all the time. When I see something that is really I'm very impressed by it. I want to remember it. I write it in my journal, and it's good to go through and reread those. I have journals I haven't found yet. Ever since I moved a lot of stuff upstairs into John's room after the flooding, I'm still looking for stuff. And when I go in that room, I feel overwhelmed. And I think that's my mind. I'm thinking, there's just so much to do. And there's always a lot to do. And we have to just know that we'll move through it with grace and ease. We'll move through it. I had, let's see. Oh, I like these words. You got to listen to this. I wrote this down. It's so perfect. In the silence of my heart, I am one with love. In the silence of my soul, I am one with God. I love these words that I write down. They reinforce my life, and I hope that they do for you as well. I hope that you choose these words that you hear, and you want to hear them again, and you want to speak them again, and I will speak them again. In the silence of my heart, I am one with love. In the stillness of my soul, I am one with God. And so I'm going on to page 4. Page 4 says that in the late 60s, this is when my children were growing up. They were all pretty young. I got married when I was 20. I had 3 children by the time I was 25, and that was in the 50s, 1958. I got married, and my children were born in 59, 60, and 63. And then when they started going to school, I went back to school, and I went to Cal State. I went to Orange Coast College, lived very close to it. I got a lot of credits there. Took those lower division credits, went on to Cal State Long Beach, and that got my teaching credential there. And but when I graduated in the early 1970s, the schools were closing. I had my I could start teaching school, but the schools were closing, and they were hiring teachers that were part-time only. I was working part-time, teaching all day, really. It was like I was being paid part-time for a full-time position, really. So after I finally there were very few full-time positions offered. I did interview one, and it was a full-time position with another school district. And before I went in for the interview, a very dear friend who has since passed away, she was also studying in religious science, so she was also a practitioner. She quoted these words to me before my interview. She said, "Joyce, when you're interviewing, think of those words, peace, poise, and power." And I did. And I got called back for a second interview, but I wasn't in town for it. And for whatever reason, I didn't take that position. But you never know what chances, how things change. But in closing, I will say that God is not visible to the human eye, which sees only the effects. The divine I am within knows God intimately. I am the way, the truth, and the life. No man cometh unto the Father but by me. It is through the Christ mind discovered in the silence that we come to know God. This affects me so much. I get very emotional. It is through the Christ mind discovered in the silence that we come to know God. The purpose of meditation is to be still and let the awareness of God permeate us. I love that, be still and know that I am God. Let us just take a time to allow the silence right now in closing. And just close your eyes if you'd like to, but I take the words, be still and know that I am God, and I start eliminating words from that. So I'm going to do that now. So be still and know that I am God. Be still and know that I am. Be still and know. Be still. Be. So allowing the time of silence, allow the awareness of the Christ presence to be born in you. And that is my message this morning. Thank you, God. Thank you all. Thank you.